Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is pay. This verb was suggested by the viewer Abdi. Now, from the note on the screen, you might notice this is just part one of the video. Pay is a verb that has many different phrasal verbs connected to it, and so that my videos don't become too long and too boring, I'm going to break this verb into two parts. So let's begin by reviewing some of the definitions or ways that we can use the verb pay. The first way you might encounter this verb means to give someone money that is due for either work done or maybe goods received or possibly a debt incurred. So this can take a lot of different forms. Our organizations, our employers tend to pay us employees, but then every time we go to a store or we ask someone to assist us for something, right, we might also be giving them money or paying them. A second way to use the verb pay means to hand over or transfer the amount due to someone else. So you might think about paying with cash or paying with a check. This might seem like, isn't it the same as the first? And it's very close. But here we're really talking about maybe the way in which the transfer is occurring. A third way you might encounter the verb pay means to yield or provide someone with a specified sum of money. So again, very much connected to those first two definitions, all connected here to that idea of transferring. Now, a fourth and slightly different way to use the verb pay can mean to be profitable or advantageous. Perhaps you've heard someone say something like, crime doesn't pay, right? Or cheating doesn't pay. What it's saying is it's not advantageous. It's not good in the long run. A fifth way to use the verb pay can mean to give attention, respect, or a compliment to someone. So again, you might hear that phrase, paying a compliment, paying someone, paying attention to someone or something, and really here we're giving one of those things based on the set of circumstances. A sixth way you might encounter the verb pay might be in the phrase to pay a visit to someone. So again, we're making a visit. Could also be a phone call sometimes when this gets used. For now, you should know that pay is an irregular verb. If you want to make the progressive form of this verb, all you need to do is add ing, and that forms paying. The past tense and the participle form of this verb require the spelling change. So our spelling here is going to change to P-A-I-D, and we're going to pronounce it with a long A sound. Paid, paid. Okay. Now let's begin our discussion of some common phrasal verbs that you might encounter. The first one we'll discuss is to pay back. Many times when people are using this, they are referring to the action of repaying an amount of money that had been previously borrowed. An example of this in a sentence could be, can I pay you back next week? So maybe someone didn't have cash on them as you're doing something fun with a group of friends, right? So someone says, oh, that's okay, I'll cover your part, right? And so someone might ask this question, signaling their interest and desire to repay that and kind of confirming that the time is okay. So here, this might be a question of permission. Now, there are other ways to use the phrasal verb pay back. One of those is to return a favor that has been given by someone. So an example of this might be, how will I pay you back for all the help you gave me while I was recovering? So here, someone is asking for really like, what can I do to sort of repay something that's more intangible, because maybe you gave time to help in this instance while a person was recovering maybe from illness or surgery or something else. This is an example of a more information question in the simple future. Now, a third way to use payback can mean to get revenge or to seek revenge or retribution on someone. An example of this might be, we'll pay them back when the time is right. This is almost something a bit evil sounding we might hear from a character in a TV show or movie. It's also a simple future sentence. It sounds a bit ominous, more like a threat here. So kind of meaning like maybe we feel like this person did something bad to us. Now we're going to get revenge or do something equally or maybe equally bad or worse. Another phrasal verb we might encounter is to pay down. This can mean that someone is paying small amounts of money over time in order to decrease a debt or an amount owed. So an example of this could be, he's been paying down his credit card debt this past year. This sentence is an example of the present perfect progressive. We're talking about an action that started in the past, it's continuing into the present, and it may even continue into the future. Now, let's move on and continue looking at some more phrasal verbs. The next one we might encounter is to pay for. One way to use this phrasal verb is to talk about paying money for something that has a particular cost associated with it. So an example of this could be, she paid for the children's ice cream cones, right? So she's the one who transferred money in order to receive the goods. A second way to use pay for can mean to suffer a punishment or atonement for some bad deed or bad action. So an example of how we might hear this, they must pay for their crimes. Again, this sounds a bit threatening and ominous. Again, I feel like I've heard something similar to this in movies, or maybe some elected officials here in the United States. Here we're talking about a requirement. We're using the modal must. And I think I forgot to say she paid for the ice cream would be an example of the simple past tense. Now let's take a look at one more phrasal verb today. That is to pay in or pay into. Generally, when someone uses this, they're talking about contributing money to some type of account, maybe a particular type of fund, or something else a bit similar. An example of this might be, do employees pay into the pension fund? So here someone's maybe asking a question about the process or how something works. Pension would be money set aside to pay someone after they have retired. We're kind of questioning how that works. Maybe the company is the only one paying into this fund, but sometimes both employers and employees are both paying it. Okay. Now, let's spend a moment looking at some words that are related to our verb pay. And the first word we're going to discuss is just the noun form of this word. The noun pay has the exact same spelling and the exact same pronunciation. When we use this word as a noun, we're talking about money. And particularly, we're talking about money that has been paid to someone for their regular work. So an example of this might be, what is the rate of pay for the position? Right? We're kind of wanting to know, what do you get paid hourly? $10 an hour, $15 an hour, or something else. Another related word you might encounter is the noun payment. This noun can be used in a few different ways. One way is to refer to the action or process of paying someone or something, or we could be referring to the action of being paid. So an example of this could be, payment can be made online. So we're describing how that action or how that process can be done. A second way to use the noun payment is to refer to an actual amount that is either paid or payable, which we'll discuss in just a moment. So an example here might be the $20 payment was received last week. Here we're referencing that amount that has already occurred with the money transfer. Now, a third way to use the noun payment is to refer to something that has been given as a reward for something done. An example of this: lunch was provided as a payment for their assistance. So maybe we're talking about a group of volunteers that spent some time doing something, and as a sign of goodwill, as a bit of a thank you, they weren't given money, but they were treated to a free lunch. Now, another related word we'll discuss is the noun payoff. This can refer to the return on investment or maybe the return on a particular bet. That second definition is what I have used in my sentence, my example sentence. The payoff on his wager could be in the thousands. So I'm personally not all that into gambling, but I know many people are. Kind of that idea of like, if I bet X, right, I might get Y or a return on that wager. A second way to use the noun payoff is to talk about a payment that has been made to someone, especially as either a bribe or maybe a reward for something. An example of this: others suspect there have been payoffs to secure this contract. Right? So here, this is probably getting more at the meaning of a bribe. Someone shouldn't have been offered money or extra benefits, but someone has done that in order to maybe secure a very lucrative contract. One more word for us today. It's the adjective payable. This adjective can be used in two different ways. One is to describe something that is required to be paid. So an example of this could be, interest is payable starting in the second month. So this is suggesting this is a requirement of maybe the loan or the contract that has been agreed upon. A second way to use this adjective payable is to refer or describe something that is able to be paid. An example of this in a sentence might be, this is payable in 6 monthly installments of just $19.99. This is something that is really commonly said as different marketers try and sell products on TV and now the internet and YouTube. But here, what it's offering you is the ability to pay over time instead of paying all of it in the present moment. Thanks again to Abdi for suggesting today's verb. I hope you all will tune in tomorrow for part 2, where we'll discuss even more phrasal verbs with our verb pay. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.